It's your girl Adina, and I'm here with the 17th edition of the Liberated Pussy podcast. Yay! You can now actually get the full season, all 17 editions plus two bonus cast where podcasts are available. So that is on Amazon, that is on Spotify, and all these other amazing places. So we have compiled our work here together, and you can get it. So here comes Monique. Abra Moon Mama, abracadabra, come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Yes. It was easy today. Our magic is working.
See
Yay. We
how
got our
easy that
rattles.
was? That was
Yes,
easy.
hi goddess.
Hi, Goddess.
How
How are you doing?
are you? I'm doing fantastic. How are
You
you?
know what? My body is doing some detoxing, so I'm
Mhm.
in a, like the way I sound is about
Yeah.
how I feel. And it really
Yeah.
is just a detox. It's not
Okay.
like, I'm just releasing.
Mhm.
It's
Okay.
very interesting.
So I'm going to ask our community to send the Moon Mama and myself some positive energy right now. So put hearts up, put your hands up, and just surround her in love as her body recalibrates. We're in a cleansing, clearing season, and this is the season of her mind, her particular astrology. So it's really intense for her right now. So we are sending you
Thank
love,
you.
we are surrounding you, and we are just with you as your body defaults to perfect. Your
Thank you.
DNA resets herself to
Thank you.
healed. You are throwing off those things that no longer serve, and
Mm.
woo, you're a whole, perfect, and complete.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, yes, yes.
Ashe.
Even in the becoming, even in the becoming. And listen, listen. Now I got a little frog in my throat. Let me drink.
um,
so, so with that being said, would you like to give folks some astrological context as we start our conversation on how did we word it? We worded it about really being in the oneness with yourself, you know?
yes, yes. Yeah, so thank you for that. We have the moon in Capricorn and the sun is in Capricorn. We have a new moon this morning at I think at 4:30 in the morning. I'm not completely sure, but it's tomorrow in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
like 4:30 in the morning, 7 p.m. I mean 7 a.m. your time in the
Mm-hmm.
East Coast. And Capricorn energy is about it's winter. So it's really
Mm-hmm.
about taking care of
Yeah.
ourselves and prioritizing ourselves and holding your energy. Like literally, like bears hibernate, animals sleep during this time. And
Mm-hmm.
why do they do that? So they can rebuild their energy so that they can collect energy that they then have for the months to come.
Yeah, for the spring and the summer, those action months.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right. And so now is a great time, and we're going to have a new moon, and this new moon has is at the 20th degree, and it's the 20th degree is a degree that is ruled by Scorpio, by
Mm-hmm.
Pluto. And so really it's a death. Pluto is
Mm-hmm.
death
I
and
say.
transformation. So we are in a natural death cycle. Now the challenge is that we don't honor that generally in our
Right,
culture.
right.
Like most other cultures, more indigenous cultures, they slow down, but you see, we speed up. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
after the winter solstice, then we have Christmas and New Year's. All that is burning off the energy that we are going to need when it's time. And
So folks
so
are running in a deficit, like you're running on a battery that's on one bar and you're trying to go full speed ahead with that.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's just like if you're out with your cell phone and
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have your charger and your cell phone battery's gone to low, if you keep talking on it, if you don't do something to conserve it, like like I'll put on airplane mode or I'll
Mm-hmm.
do all manner of things when my charge is leaving and I don't have a remote charger or I don't know you know what I'm saying, a
I know what you
charger,
mean.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the same. Our bodies are the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
Folks
a
just
natural
run it
cycle.
until it goes dark, until they
Right.
fall out and they just can't do anymore because they've given from an empty cup, from a cup that
Yes.
had nothing in it. They poured it all out, saved none for themselves. And now
Yes.
they're like, I'm
Right.
depressed. I feel so bad. Oh my
That's right.
God, everything
That's
sucks.
right.
So
That's right.
this is
And
what we're
some of the
talking about.
things that we can do during the winter season is take black walnut
Mhm.
and wormwood,
Mhm.
because that will, I don't talk about this stuff often because people get so freaked out by it. But we live in a world where everything kind of feeds off of everything. And so when you say to people have parasites, generally, like, if people are meat eaters or just, it's just normal for
Mhm.
us to be, um we all have good bacteria, we
Mhm.
all have bad bacteria,
Mhm.
right? And so when you're experiencing depression, it's because you've not been harnessing your energy, you have depressed yourself. So one of the ways that you can combat that is by taking black walnut and wormwood tincture every day,
Mhm.
and it will kill those bacteria and parasitic energies that are draining your life force and draining your energy.
Yes, I'm going to put some in my water today. Thank you for the reminder sitting
Yes.
on my counter. Thank you
Yeah.
for that. So we can't just burn the candle at both ends and think it's not going to have an effect. And now
Right.
you and I, we do this work together. And even doing the work, we still have to honor nature. We are
Yes.
nature. And
That's
so that's
right.
what you're doing now. You're honoring your nature and the fact that it's cleansing time, it's clearing time.
Yes.
And so we say, ashe to that. It is good to clear and cleanse
Yes.
and realign ourselves with what we say we want. We're different than we were last month, last
That's
week,
right.
yesterday.
That's
So
right.
let's be in
That's right.
alignment with that.
That's right.
Thank you, darling. Love you, love you, love
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much. All right.
Yeah. All righty. So thank you for the update, Capricorn, Capricorn. And you know I have a Capricorn moon.
Yes, I do.
So even though I'm clearing through this, I'm having a time, but I'm in I'm in harmony with the time.
Mhm.
Even though I feel it, I'm able to I'm able to
Mhm.
ride it. That's how I'll say. I'm able to ride
Mhm.
the energy because
Mhm.
my moon is naturally in this energy. So it just feels okay. This is
Right,
where we are.
right.
Mhm.
And if there's one thing else I could add before you move on,
Yes.
is that where the moon is in Capricorn and we are hours before the new moon. So this is
Yes.
when the moon is in its darkest
Yes.
phase. So this is oftentimes when we feel the deepest emotions because we're in the dark. And
Mm-hmm.
so our fears might be realized,
Mm-hmm.
our insecurities come up, our sense of, being alone. Like Capricorn is an energy of of being
Mm-hmm.
alone sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
really saying no and creating time for yourself. And during this dark time of the moon is the best time to do that.
Ashe.
And so I just
Ashe.
want to add that so people can understand why they are feeling what they're
Mm-hmm.
feeling. If you feel tired, if you feel sad, it's because we're in the dark of the moon. So this is the time to really be still. Don't make a lot of
Mm-hmm.
decisions and choices. Just be present to how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And, be mindful not to be judging yourself or judging others and blaming yourself
Mm-hmm.
and blaming others, because we're in the dark of the moon. It's going to pass.
It's gonna pass. Hello. That's
Right.
everything comes to pass. That's one thing my mom told me growing up.
Mhm.
This too shall
That's
pass.
right. And
And
it
it does.
always does.
Yeah,
That's
it
right.
does. You live long enough to know. Like, man, it did. I thought that was the end. I thought it was, like the worst, like it
Right.
can't get better. But the sun came up the next day.
That's
So
right. That's
that
right.
being said,
So,
the quote that we want to frame our conversation around, which is so beautiful and it's very Capricornic. Is that a word? Capricornic?
it is today.
I just made it.
That's
All
right.
words are made up. I just made up a new one. So the quote is, I will never have this version of me again. Let me slow down and be with her.
Mm.
I'm always evolving. Let
Mhm.
me slow down and be with her. I know the way our society is set up, we don't often have times to really slow down and be with
Mhm.
ourselves. And I will say COVID really afforded me that
Mhm.
time to be with myself and to move through some really powerful things. So even though some might see that as a tumultuous time, I see it as a time that the world changed and my inner world changed because I
Yeah.
was able to be in the subtle moments with myself, really activate my magic and develop my God-given gifts and align myself with what I'm here to do, which is not just work a job, work a job for 40 years, get a watch. I don't even think they give watches now. They be retiring folks and bringing in the new folks for folks are ready to leave and then retiring and kicking a bucket. It's like, nah, I already saw that played out. I saw that played out enough to know that that's not my path. And so I know I did some different things. I left my big corporate job last year. It took me, as you know, that walk, it took me probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years to
Yeah.
actually get my mind and my courage up enough to do that. Whereas people were like, well, why would you do that? Because it was time. It was time for me to create my life. And this relates to everything, not just job, not just relationship. I mean, literally everything. How we view sex. You and I were talking about sexual connections and things like that. How we view our relationship to our friends, like who are those who are feeding our souls and our spirits? How are we feeding the souls and spirits of those around us? Let's jump into that. What do you think?
Well, it's really interesting because Capricorn and this Capricorn season is Capricorn more than anything is about your integrity.
Ashe.
And integrity is a personal thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like before I really started studying astrology and archetypes and you know, deities, I thought integrity was sort of this communal thing. It's like I have to do right by other
Mm-hmm.
people. But really, integrity is about doing right by yourself
Mm-hmm.
and learning how to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
learning to understand what is of value to you and then being able to say no to what is not of value to you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so for me, this last year, during Capricorn season, I think it's really important that as a woman that we really understand the power of our sexuality. I think men should understand too, but I'm not a man, so I can't really speak to that.
Mm-hmm.
But as a woman, it's important for us to understand the power of our sexual nature and our sexual energy and how like one of the things that I have seen in myself, when I have sex with
Mm-hmm.
somebody, I'm with them forever, it seems like. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
I
Like they
feel.
are in my system.
Yes.
And, there is a biological component to that. Like when a man
Mm-hmm.
ejaculates in the woman, he leaves his cells,
Mm-hmm.
his cells, his
DNA.
seed, his
Yeah.
DNA in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes a part of you.
Yeah.
So you are always connected.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I've learned for myself is that it's becoming, as I mature, it's becoming more important to me to make sure that my sexual connections are in integrity with who I am and
Mm-hmm.
what I desire for my life, and understanding that when I lay down with somebody, I'm sharing my life force with them. They are sharing
Mm-hmm.
their life force with me. So is this life force I want to share with this person? Is there a benefit in sharing my life force with this person beyond, the 2 hours or the 20 minutes or the time that's spent? You know what I mean? It's so
To
funny.
20,
One time,
20 minutes to two
girl,
hours.
it's so interesting. I was thinking yesterday, I was doing some meditation and just really going down the list of lovers I've had all of my life and really getting, clear about what was the benefit of this. And I was reminded of this partner that I had one time. We were really good friends when I was 19. We were really good friends. He was a little older than me. Maybe he was 22. And we were friends. Like
Mm-hmm.
I saw him as like a big brother.
Mm-hmm.
And occasionally he would like flirt with me and it would kind of throw me off guard, but I
Mm-hmm.
would just, like a fly,
Mm-hmm.
right? And one day he caught me off guard, really. Like I was like 21, my grandmother died. I was at his
Mm-hmm.
house and he was consoling me and it was turning into a sexual experience.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, I went with it. My guard
He
was
was
down.
consoling you with the deed. I mean, deed is
Right.
healing.
Right. And when I tell you it lasted all of
Oh,
2 minutes.
Oh no.
And
Not
and
even 20?
as an adult now, I have much more grace for that because I understand men in a much different way. But what I do know now is that there wasn't intention in
Mm-hmm.
that. There wasn't, we hadn't really talked about what we were doing. We hadn't talked about why,
Mm-hmm.
we hadn't made a shift in our relationship. It and what I saw was that he was really just always trying to get to sex. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
always trying to get to sex, but he
Mm-hmm.
was. And
Mm-hmm.
because there wasn't a conversation based in integrity
Mm-hmm.
and intentions based in integrity, the experience that we had was one that wasn't beneficial to really either of us, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I was like, never again.
Mm-hmm.
like you've been asking for all these years, and I finally, and then it lasts 2 minutes, and so, but it was because I didn't come to the situation with consciousness. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't come to the situation with a clear understanding of what I was doing, what I was giving, what I was
Mm-hmm.
receiving,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that the experience was
Okay.
lackluster.
So I don't see that as a quote unquote mistake. I see it
I
that
see
it
it as a
came to teach.
mistake.
Yeah, but some
Mm-hmm.
people may listen to it and say, "Oh, it was a mistake." You know
Mm-hmm.
how again common culture will justify these experiences. I see it as an experience that led you to understand that this is what you need. You know,
Yes.
this is how you desire to connect with the masculine from a more a perspective that is more what would I say,
Mm-hmm.
authentic, more in alignment. And as you were shifting, it was just you were grieving, so you were
Right.
vulnerable, and you just went forward.
More
So
conscious,
more
more
conscious,
conscious,
more
more
conscious.
aware. Like, what
Yes.
are we
What are
doing
we
here? Why do you
doing?
want this?
Hmm.
What are we
Hmm.
sharing here?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
really adult,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
what are we up
What are we
to
up
here? And so
to? I love that. What are we up to? Think about asking all of your, and you can do this, and we've done this in Goddess Gathering. We actually, over the last month or so, did a relationship inventory
mhm,
where we looked at our relationships and decided, with hindsight 2020, what they were about, what I was
yeah.
up to, even unconsciously. Now I can look back and get the lesson from that and be grateful for that. So it's one thing when you're not conscious. Now we
Right.
are conscious, and we can come to it from the standpoint of, what am I up to? What do I bring to this union? What can I learn in this union? What do you bring to this union? What can you learn? We were taught that the purpose of sex was healing and manifestation. And if you're not,
Where? In the world we were taught that? Where
no,
were
no,
we
no,
taught?
no, no, not in the world. And all the study we've been doing
Okay.
in the mystery schools and
Yeah.
this
Okay.
esoteric,
Mhm.
metaphysical learning
Yes.
of the purpose of sex. So
Yes.
no, the world didn't teach us that. The world, what the world taught us about
Right.
sex. But what we're learning now from a conscious place, healing and manifestation. And so now, how can your connections be more and aligned with that, from the standpoint of, you'll never have this version of you again, and even after you have that experience with that partner, it's a new version of
Y-
you now. It's a version
Yes.
of you now that has joined with this person. I'm not of the mindset that everybody is gross, like everybody is
Mhm.
nasty or that kind of thing. Like, because you're going to attract people who are on your vibration. So if they're gross, then you gross.
That's
I mean, you know
right.
what I mean? Like, people don't really
Yes.
get that. You
Yes.
know, I saw this post last week of this woman. I think her name is Tayomi or something. She's a Tantra person, and she
Mhm.
teaches, different stuff. And she was talking about being poly as fuck,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
she showed a diagram of her and all of her relationships, the different types of relationships there were. And it was, a bunch of stuff on the page. And then the comments, it was like 5,000 comments on it, because
Mhm.
everybody's like, that's gross. You got, how, and because she was saying, I test regularly, I do this, I do that, I take precautions, but these are my connections. But I was shocked at the depth of the judgment from men and women of her sharing
Mhm.
her truth. I thought it was very courageous of her
Mhm.
to share and explain a little bit what it meant to be a woman who was open in the way that she related, and share it, like really
Yes.
open book, open hearted. But not everyone, but most of the folks who commented on her was like, you're trash, or you're this, or I was like,
Mhm.
wow, they can't just listen to her share her truth and just be like, oh, wow, okay, that's
Right.
another way to do it.
Well, that's because we've been taught that sex is
It's
only for
dirty.
married couples,
Yeah.
that sex is,
Hmm.
about having children,
Hmm.
that women should be prudish and all of
Hmm.
that. And my belief is that everyone needs to understand their own sexual context. Everyone,
Hmm.
I believe that everyone is different. I believe that
Hmm.
some people can have many lovers and it be beneficial to them.
Hmm.
I believe that there are people who can have many lovers and it's not beneficial to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that
It
you have to
stems from the me. It stems from
right.
where are you and the
That's
story
right.
you're telling yourself about the
Well,
situation. What are you saying to yourself about sex, about your partner, about yourself?
right. And I feel like it's about just knowing yourself, really
Yes.
knowing yourself,
Yes.
because I can say that I've been around the sun 55 times and all the
Look,
sex that I have
double
had,
nickels, baby, double
yes,
nickels.
all the sex that I have had in my life has mostly been unconscious
Oh,
sex.
wow.
Maybe I've had
Hmm.
two or three partners where we came into the experience understanding that we were manifesting, that we were healing,
Hmm.
that we were transmuting energy.
Hmm.
But the most of my partners, it has been unconscious, uneducated, all about power, and
Hmm.
seeking power. And
Hmm.
so I just feel like seeking power at the effect of taking power from someone else, right?
Right.
Like, so I feel like it's just important that we begin to redefine what is healthy and whole for our individual selves,
Hmm.
and and what and then how we can share that experience with one other or many others, or however we
Hmm.
decide,
Hmm.
right? But the key is knowing yourself and being in integrity with yourself.
Right. And that requires you taking time with yourself, which is where we started with this whole
Yes.
thing. Really understanding what your needs are, understanding your gifts, having that confidence in yourself to know what gifts you bring to a situation. Maybe it's time to just chill for a minute so that you can discover that before you partner with another. But
Right.
if you're already in partnership, you can still develop it. It's no one right way to do
Right.
this. It's just work that is of your spirit. You either do it this lifetime or the next,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Absolutely. My mother was a sex worker. And
Hmm.
so I I was raised in an environment that had a different perspective around sex. My mother, when I was young, came to me and was like, "Girl, I know you're gonna be wanting to screw. Here's some birth control pills." Like, my mother had a very different attitude about sex.
Hmm.
Now, what I can say is that I'm not my mother.
Asha.
Like, the way, and I love my mother and I
Hmm.
love how she lived her life. I love the way that she was devoted to her sexuality and devoted to men in her life, but that doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me.
Hmm.
And it took me years to figure that out. And one of the things that I have in the last few years as I've been doing the work to heal my body, because my mother was a sex worker while she was pregnant with me.
Wow.
And um and for years I've been working to clean the energy that
Hmm.
the energy, because when she was having sex with men while she was pregnant with me, those energies were being absorbed by my system. And
Hmm.
even when I was a young girl, I could feel energies in my body. I was like, I just felt it,
Hmm.
right? And so as I have been doing the work to heal and transmute, recently I did a mushroom ceremony and could see like octopus arms wrapped around my womb.
Hmm.
That's me taking in the energy of men where there's not a conscious intention, where
Hmm.
the men are not aware of what we are, or and me allowing it, right? Me
Hmm.
inviting people into my womb space where there's not conscious awareness and intention, even in my marriage.
Hmm.
So this is not about it's not about the if you have a commitment or
Hmm.
not. It's not about that at all, because
No.
I was definitely committed to my
Hmm.
husband, right? But we were both wounded.
Hmm.
And so we had a very tumultuous sexual experience. And so as I do the work to heal, I do yoni steams and I use yoni eggs and
Hmm.
I talk to my womb. I do all
Hmm.
of these rituals and exercises to release myself um, from those old attachments,
That's
from
true.
those old attachments. And it's so interesting because when I was much younger, like, in my 30s and 40s, I used to feel like if I didn't have a lover that I could call and be like, hey, what you doing? I would feel like I was gonna die.
Oh,
I
wow.
literally would feel like it was the end of the world. And so I just always was sort of holding on for the sake of holding on,
Mm-hmm.
not for the sake of love or manifesting or supporting one another, but for the sake of an attachment to the external reality,
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what I mean being in integrity. And it just so happens that we are alive at the time on the planet when we have the information that we didn't have before. We
Right.
now understand what we didn't understand before. And in a Black woman's body, Black women were slaves for 250 years, where we were raped every day and every night, where our bodies were not our own, our wombs were not our
Mm-hmm.
own, and we have been carrying that energetic DNA for centuries
Mm-hmm.
in our bodies from one generation to the next. And until we question ourselves, until we really question what we're up to, how we feel, until we take dominion over our own bodies,
Mm-hmm.
we still don't own ourselves. We're
Right.
still at the effect of desire.
Mm-hmm.
We own our desire. Our desire doesn't own us.
Right. That's powerful.
Right? And so you have to, like, I started questioning, why do I want to be intimate with this person?
Mm-hmm.
Why? What's the benefit
Mm-hmm.
of it?
Mm-hmm.
What am I giving? What am
Mm-hmm.
I giving here?
Mm-hmm.
How is it benefiting me? What
Mm-hmm.
is the benefit? Is this person conscious? Is this person One of my last lovers, I got into the experience, and as I'm saying it out loud, this is going to sound interesting, but my body is really, like, my uterus and everything is small.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it that way. It's small. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when I go to the doctor, they're like, "We can't find your uterus," and I'm like, "It's in there, right?" And
How
so
we can't find it? Are they kidding?
yes, it's so silly, right? But I had an intention because I used to really avoid having partners who had a larger member, let's say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was really uncomfortable for me. So I set out to have a partner who had a larger member so that I could expand my body. Like, I really wanted to become more I wanted to become more receptive. I wanted to be able to have a better sexual experience where in situations where it had been uncomfortable and painful
Mm-hmm.
prior. And so I was with this partner, and then after a while, once I kind of gained that desire, once I met that need and my body got comfortable, I was like, okay, now what
Right.
are we doing? Right?
Right.
Because
Thanks.
I had
Your
fulfilled my
purpose.
mission.
Yeah.
Right. And so I attempted to shift us into another thing, like, maybe we'll do spiritual work together. Maybe we'll do, and he wasn't really, he was open for the sake of getting what he wanted, is
Mm-hmm.
what I'll say it was, which is fine. But he didn't really want spiritual growth. He wanted to just continue to have sex. But us having sex had already met my need. I had already made myself more comfortable. And because the intentions weren't aligned, we couldn't move
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't
Mm-hmm.
have the same intentions. So
Yeah.
that relationship ended because I wanted something different than what he wanted. I wanted to, like, maybe we'll move into now healing. Maybe we'll move into manifestation. Maybe we'll move into creating, a different reality. And that's not his work. So
Mm-hmm.
I just allowed the relationship to end, or I ended it, shall I say. But what I learned from that was that it's very important. I'm grateful that I moved into the relationship with intention, but it's always important to be in
Mm-hmm.
communication.
And you moved out of it with
Yes.
intention too.
Yes.
And that's a power position. It's one thing to sit and languish, and that I think that's why our grandmamas, and I'm speaking, globally or generally, were unhappy, or women of another generation, they didn't necessarily have the autonomy to move in and out as they desire,
Right.
because they didn't have as many things available to them. And so we're saying we have the knowledge and we have the means to make shifts now.
Yeah.
So that is a beautiful thing to say, listen, if we're not in alignment, we can make a new agreement or we can shift. And that's really the way to do it. Nobody has to slash
Right.
tires and, be calling phones and acting crazy and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. It's just like we're complete. We are complete. Thank you. Thank you for your offering. Thank you for stretching out the yoni. She appreciates it. Hello. I'll be ready for my next, deal or whatever.
Right.
But that's a very mature place of understanding what it's for.
Yeah.
Understanding what it's for and being very receptive. So I love that share. Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
You're welcome.
So thinking again about being with this version of myself. So again, you're a new version of yourself because of that experience. This version of yourself, you've taken time to be quiet with her and ask her heart, what is it that you desire? Or what is it that you desire to heal? Because you're doing all this shifting and healing and up leveling. What is that? What has that taught you in the in this time?
Wow. Gosh, that's a really deep question. Ask me again, please. Then I'm gonna ask you. Okay.
Okay. Well, you talked about owning our bodies. And I will say, this is what I heard you say, because for me, a lot of times the masculine can be steeped in ownership, whereas I know I want to be free because it's called liberated pussy, but I also want to be claimed. I don't have a problem with being your woman, but I'm my woman first, if that makes sense, So that's what my solitude has taught me. I had to get clear, and it's a minute difference, but it's massive inside me because I understand what it means. I am a free woman, but I still want to have positive masculine connection. But at what cost? Like we talked about, freedom ain't free. So what I'm saying is we'll never have this version of ourselves. We woke up today as a new version of Adina and Monique. What did the old version feed to this new version today? Like even from your mushroom journey, and you talked about the octopus. One thing I wrote down is we got to look up the totem meaning of octopus. I'm really curious to what the spiritual message, because the subconscious speaks in pictures. What does octopus represent? And for it to be wrapped around your uterus.
I'm going to look at that. But thank you for so this question is really interesting because I know for many years I believed I wasn't whole without a man.
Okay.
That if I didn't have a man claiming me, wanting me, desiring me, I was nothing.
Okay.
I was not enough.
Okay. That
Like
enoughness.
so much of my validation and affirmation and value was based on if a man was desiring me. And what I am learning now is how to stand on my own energy without the need for a man to claim me. Like I claim myself. I want myself. I desire myself. I love myself. I'm enough for myself. Like, and if I can be it for myself, then somebody can come and experience me being enough in and of myself, but their presence doesn't validate who I am.
Right.
Detrick is saying it's possible to belong to and not be owned by. That's what Detrick is saying. Thank you, Detrick.
Okay. Thank you, Detrick.
It's possible I want to read it again. It's possible to belong to and not be owned by.
Yes.
Yes.
Ashe, Detrick, we'll put some love on that. And that's what we're talking about. That nuance. It's a nuancy kind of thing. And it's inside you. It's really not external. Just nuancy. I will say this to what you said. If you're already happy, you're not depending on someone to quote unquote make you happy. Together, you can get happier, but you already are coming from that standpoint. of love
Yes.
and happiness within yourself. And that is that piece of being with you and in oneness and slowing down and making sure that you're firmly on your square. We talk about that a lot. What square are you on? Are your feet even on the ground? Are you in the air? Are you
Right.
running? What are you doing? You know,
Right.
are you chasing? Or are you really deepening your love for you? Because that shit is
Yes,
magnetic. Once you get
it
into that
is.
space, you know, it's no worries. It's magnetic. You'll have more than you'll have your pick.
Yes, it really is the truth. It really is a magnet. And it's so funny the other day, like every day I really do self-love practices,
Mm-hmm.
really. And I went for a walk and it was during the day. And as I walked like by my park, there were every man I passed, and all of them were Latin men, which was an
Mm-hmm.
interesting thing. But every single man that I passed by literally stopped and said
Nice.
hello. Like, and it was a, because normally people will pass by you and just nothing, but they use
Mm-hmm.
their voices. Hello, madam.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, that's really interesting, because I'm that present
Mm-hmm.
with myself. These men who aren't even black men, it didn't even matter, because they can feel the magnet
Mm-hmm.
of my self-love. So they acknowledge me because I acknowledge myself.
You were out there with the high pro glow, walking all around. And they said, oh, oh. So
Right,
really, the key comes back to self. The key comes back to self. So that's
right.
really beautiful, Mo. I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
Which is, very conservationist and
Mm-hmm.
Capricorn season. It's, I do realize that the stand I'm taking in my life right now is a rare one. And
Mm-hmm.
because here's the thing that I have seen in my life, and I don't seen with other women that were older than me when I was, in my younger years. It's like they just give up on their sexual
Mm-hmm.
desire. It's like they give up on being sensual, beautiful, sensual, sexy women because they don't have men in their
Well,
lives, or you know what I mean.
they
It's
tell
like,
a story like they can't have what they want and they just give up, like they're attached to story, the fairy tale, and
yes,
now you've lived long enough to see the fairy tale is bullshit, and so now they're sad saying, well, fuck it, I'll just eat cake and drink, you know what I'm
right,
saying, or
right. And so,
whatever, like I'll put it in
right,
something
drinking
else.
wine every
Mm-hmm.
night and eat, all that
Mm-hmm.
sort of stuff. But one of the biggest things that influenced me in my life, which was so profound, my grandmother was a Christian. She was a Christian on top of the church, under the church. She believed in Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, Jesus, Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. And when she died, when she died, and we went to her house to clean the house,
Mm-hmm.
to get it organized, what was near her bed but vibrators and sexy magazines?
Yes,
And she
grandma.
was in her 70s, right?
I
But
love it.
she never talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't share that she still
Mm-hmm.
had sexual
Mm-hmm.
desire. You know what I mean? She was 70 something,
Mm-hmm.
still,
Mm-hmm.
really like looking at magazines and
Mm-hmm.
touching herself.
Yeah.
But all I ever heard from her was Jesus. I kind of feel some way about that.
But her generation didn't have these conversations. That's why we
Yes.
have the Liberated Pussy podcast. Sexual desire is natural. Babies touch themselves. So it
Yes.
makes sense that the elders would. I remember seeing one older woman, she was having a dementia experience.
Hmm.
And so she had no filter. And so in her dementia experience,
Hmm.
she said everything. Like, her granddaughter's friend came home. She's like, ooh, you a tall glass of water. Come give me a hug. You know what I mean? Like I want to feel
Right.
you, you know?
Yes.
And that is to be human.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
fucking natural. We
Yes.
want to feel and we want to be felt and we want to experience the joy and pleasure of the body. So I'm glad that your grandmama was taking care of it,
Yes.
you know?
And I
Mm-hmm.
encourage women, just because you haven't accessed the fantasy of somebody coming and choosing you, don't give up on your sensual sexual energy.
Yes.
Feed yourself. Like, be in your body, and not just sexually. Look in the mirror, like touch your body and be present to your body, and rub your breasts and rub your belly, and because that's good for you. It is
Mm-hmm.
healthy. Rub your buttocks, go
Mm-hmm.
get massages so that you can actually experience touch, because that energy will generate the possibility of you having a partner or more partners that fulfill that need. And we have been given these very Christian perspectives, one man and one woman. But here's what I love: Bobby Hemmett. I love
Mhm.
blessings to Bobby Hemmett, the
Mhm.
God Bobby Hemmett, because when I heard him say that the women who have the most sexual partners are the most intelligent, because what you have done is you're collecting the DNA, you're collecting the
The
information, right? But you
intelligence.
just, all you have to do is be intentional about it, though. You just
Mhm.
can't be willy-nilly about it. But if
Mhm.
you understand that there is power and information being exchanged
Mhm.
and wisdom being exchanged, then you can
You
use
have
that energy in a way that
access.
truly benefits you. But you have to be in integrity with yourself first.
Mhm. That's the thing. First.
First.
First. Yes.
And once a year, we have this season, winter, where we get to
Mhm.
come and be with ourselves. And we get to come and be in the dark and in the winter and hibernate and take care of our bodies. So for me, I'm detoxing. I just got myself a rebounder to help my body drain the lymph,
Mhm.
because the lymph energy doesn't move on its
Mhm.
own. Like, many people, they get boils under their
Mhm.
arms and they have skin
Mhm.
breakouts and all of that stuff, adult acne. That's because your lymph energy isn't moving.
Mhm.
And that is your responsibility to do it, but we haven't been
Mhm.
taught.
No.
So I want to say that we've not been taught that those things go together,
Mhm.
but I'm saying it now. Dedrick said the tantric Jesus. Woo!
Yes, that's what grandmama had. Ah, I think that's a book even. Tantric Jesus. I seem to remember Detrick posting that one
Oh, that's
time. So yeah.
amazing. I got to go get that book.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the work that we have to do to really fall in love
Mm-hmm.
with ourselves,
Yes.
so that we are giving ourselves the love that we need and desire. And we're not waiting on someone else to do it. And we're not giving up on it when there's not anyone else to do it.
Right.
Because we can do it for
That's
ourselves.
do it
Touch
first.
your yoni,
Mm-hmm.
rub your yoni,
Mm-hmm.
put coconut oil on your yoni
Mm-hmm.
and your body, and put coconut oil in your yoni. And
Yes.
because coconut is a natural antibacterial, so it's going to
Mm-hmm.
clean your body out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really do this.
Mm-hmm.
Detrick, I want it. We're going to have Detrick come be on our show.
We could do that. Yeah, we could do that because in fact Detrick has a course called what is it called, Detrick? Yoni, something Yoni. Oh, Discover the Yoni. Put it in the chat, Detrick. He has a course specifically. He has studied with the Tantra Institute of somewhere, but he's gonna tell us what his course is.
The Tantric Institute of the good pussy all around the world.
There you go. There you go. And from a masculine perspective of understanding the feminine, he has literally done a deep dive on understanding the feminine. So from that perspective. So yeah, Detrick, put it in the chat what your course
Yeah.
is.
And then
Mm-hmm.
consider being on our show so we can have this very grown up conversation in a way that allows people to learn
Mm-hmm.
about the
Mm-hmm.
value of prioritizing yourself so
Ashe.
that you
Ashe.
can be good for yourself and others.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some of the ways that you are honoring yourself this season, Adina?
I'm honoring myself by doing my cleanse. So what I have committed to doing, when God is gathering, we did a fast for the
Yes, we
solstice.
did.
That fast for
Yes.
the solstice really catapulted me into some deep cellular cleansing. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
noticing some things in my body that I haven't noticed before. And I see the light at the end of the tunnel of how I'm going to be better on the other side of that. And
Mm-hmm.
so what I've done too at the end of that fast is I'm fasting once a week. So I'm actually fasting today. And then from my conversation with you, I'm going to fast whenever the moon is in my sun sign, which is Cancer. So
Yes.
that is allowing my body to have a time to rebuild herself and be her best version of herself right now. I have been doing a deep dive as well on this relationship piece and really understanding what they are for, what
Mm-hmm.
they are for, and what the value and benefit is today. It
Mm-hmm.
might not be what it was years and years ago because I'm not that person I
Mm-hmm.
was years and years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
what is it today? So that is how I'm being with me, is really in a purposeful way, in a way of honor. Oh, Erica says she's doing a liquid only fast tomorrow. Okay, Erica, so we're in alignment. Awesome,
Yes.
awesome, awesome,
And then
awesome.
Detrick said the name of his class is Meet the
Meet the
Yoni.
Yoni. Yes, Meet the Yoni. So we can have Detrick on and we'll talk about Meet the Yoni and why it's important for the ladies to meet the Yoni and the men to meet the Yoni. Not just rush past it for a quick nut.
Right.
You know, it's so much more there. It's
Yes.
so much magic there.
Yes.
How do we access that?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the goddess is. How do you access your magic from the standpoint of actually making real changes in your life today that you can see right now?
Yes.
Magic precedes logic. You cannot access your magic from your logical mind. So a lot of people will poo-poo it because they're thinking, oh, it doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to make sense. The goddess is in the realm that is not of the logical mind. So this is what we're doing.
Yes.
In Goddess Technology and Goddess Gathering, we're doing some really amazing work. And it's amazing to connect with the masculine who are in alignment electronically through this medium and in real actual life too. So we give thanks for the gods and goddesses who are with us in this journey.
Absolutely. So in July, we're going to be going to Bali. We're taking a group of women to Bali for a goddess gathering retreat. And we're going to be there for a week.
We're going to be there for 8 days, 7 nights. No, 8 nights, 7 days. Anyway, 8 and 7, I got the nights and days mixed up, but they're actually 2 weeks. So there's week 1 is July 5th through the 12th, and then we have the second week that we're booking right now, which is July 13th through the 20th. So those who are interested in doing this goddess work together in community, because this is work you do with yourself, but then you take it and you do it in community. You do it with your sisters, you do it with your brothers. We'll be doing that together. Leading up to that, we are doing the work I got something in my eye, oh my goodness. We do the work collectively in Goddess Gathering right now. We're in community right now with women all over the world, actually working ourselves through this process of realizing who we are and how we can be more personally effective and powerful and creating the lives that we desire. So yes, we're there for 2 weeks.
Yes, Rhea, we'll both be there for 2 weeks. Yes. That is so exciting. So the Goddess Gathering, every Thursday we come together, and I just want to say, you guys, like Adina is an incredible teacher, but it's more than that. It's your enthusiasm and your love for the goddess work. Like that's the thing that shines forth. Like your love for the goddess work, and you embody it in a way that is practical and fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like you really are fun. You really are fun. It's because like I'm really serious. Like I mean I am fun when I'm not serious, but you are fun.
That's why we go great together, That's why we go together.
Yes. So Adina's more fun and I'm more serious, but I get to have fun when I'm with her and she gets to be serious when she's with me.
Yeah, we up level each other. We really do.
So I'm blowing that out of your eye.
Thank you, because my eye is actually, I think it's my eyelash. So anyway, so that being said, I need to go flush my eye out.
Yeah, so tomorrow we meet for Goddess Gathering. For those of you who are interested in joining us, you can join in our link tree. We meet every Thursday for at least 1 hour, sometimes exactly 1 hour, sometimes a little longer. In the thing that I love about this work that Adina really facilitates so beautifully is that it's education and movement and dance. And like there's the education and then there's the practical application of it. And so we are having a really good time. So we welcome you to join us. And the Bali retreat is for women. Yeah?
Yes.
It's for women.
Yes,
And the Goddess Gathering is for women only. And at some point, when we really get clear about who we are, we will invite men into space.
We can do some co-ed things, but the goddess thing is the goddess thing. The mothers, the grandmothers took us into the woods and worked with us.
Yeah.
They trained us. They prepared us. That's what this is. So that is a space that is for the feminine.
Yes.
It's not exclusionary. Just understand this is what we're doing. We're doing sacred work here.
Yes.
We're doing sacred work. Oh, look at Erica giving us a beautiful endorsement. Ladies, invest in yourself and join us in God is gathering. Please, it's a beautiful thing. It really is. Thank you,
Yes.
Erica.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Anything else before we go?
No, I'm in love with me. I'm in love with you because you are a reflection of
Thank
me.
you.
Yes.
With
Yes.
you
And here's
too.
Jasmine. It's so much fun. So these are two ladies who are in the circle with us. So we thank you. Of course, you know we love you, Jasmine and Erica, and all of our ladies and gentlemen who joined us today. So thank you. Please follow our podcast. We have our full season of podcasts available where podcasts are available. So on Amazon Podcasts, on Spotify, I'll put it in the link below, but our podcast is available if you want to see the whole season of what we've been talking about over the last year. And we're just going to go up from here, like onward, right?
Yes.
Onward. Yay! Liberated pussies everywhere.
Yes. Freedom ain't free. It's
Yeah, pay
gonna
the cost.
cost you your current reality. To be free, it's gonna cost you who you are
And
now.
it's worth paying that,
Yes,
because
it
this
is.
is not even what you want. You want the next level.
That's right.
You want the next level.
That's right.
All right,
I
y'all.
love
Have
all of
a
you. I
great
love
one.
you, TC. One of my clients is here.
Love
TC, I love
you,
you. Thank
TC.
you. I love you,
Yes.
Rio.
Rio,
Thank
love
you,
you.
Detrick.
Love you.
And yes, thank you, Celestial
Yes.
Sky. I love you.
And
Thank you.
Lori, love you. Detrick, love you. Love you
Yeah.
all. We love you,
All
love you,
right.
love you. Shout outs.
Peace and
Oh,
blessings.
Boone, $1 billion Boone. He always is
Oh,
giving
hey,
us
billion dollar boom.
he always giving us put ups
Yeah.
and reposts. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
your support. All
Thank
right.
you. Peace and
Bye-bye.
blessings. Bye bye.
Peace.